A French poet said, "Come to the edge." "We're afraid," they said. "Come to the edge." They came to the edge, and he pushed them, and they flew. So I'm going to invite you this month to come to the edge, to come to the edge of your comfort zone, to come to the edge of what is known to you, and to begin to push out and stretch out in ways that perhaps you have never done before. To move into new terrain, to go beyond our limitations. I think it's one of the reasons that we like Star Trek so much, right? It's because every week they're going to the edge of the universe, or they're seeking out new civilizations, and they're boldly going where no man has gone before, no one has gone before. And every week there was something new where they were stretching. And so we are being called this month on our soul trek to go to the edge. So when we think of going to the edge, we hear words like cutting edge, the leading edge, edgy. And I think one of the things that we like about the edge is there's an excitement about it, isn't there? I remember Tom Hanks said that the first time he heard the Beatles, he said it was like hearing the future. And that's what the edge is, and that's what when we're on the edge, or people are on the edge, or technology is on the edge, there's this excitement, you know? Remember when the iPhone and the iPod was coming out? It was like, whoa, this is exciting. We're moving into something new, and we're moving into the future. They take us, when we're on the edge or edgy, we're taken to new places in consciousness that haven't been before. And we've seen it throughout history. Elvis with his hips, right? I mean, that was on the edge. I mean, they wouldn't film him from the waist down because it was so edgy. Keith Richards, you know, with his guitar, he took off one of the strings and played with 5 strings and created a whole new sound. Chuck Berry and James Brown created a whole new sound. Marvin Gaye, with the song that we heard at the beginning of the service, What's Going On, when he wrote that song, he loved it. He thought, this is the most amazing song not only have I ever written, but I have ever heard. And you know what? Nobody liked it. He took it to his producer, and his producer said, we're not going to make that into a record. He played it for some of his friends, and they're like, what is that, you know? And part of it was a new sound. It wasn't anything that had been heard. And they're like, you know, you can't dance to that song. So, and he said, it's the best song I've ever written. And so he really pushed for it to be made into a record, and it took off and sold millions, I think, within the first week. It was one of those phenomenal songs, but it was on the edge, and it was so on the edge that people didn't like it. And sometimes that's true, isn't it? When something is really on the edge, we may resist it at first, right? Remember when you're a child and you're listening to your music and your parents are like, what is that? Stop. You know, and it's almost like every generation is like, what is that? Because it's so different and it's so new that sometimes it's almost painful because it's so different. We're on the edge when we have a child, when we move out, when we get married, when we retire, when we go off on an adventure. All these are edge experiences. It's like being a scout on a trip, right? What does the scout do? The scout's out in the front, and the scout is looking at the terrain so that the rest of the group can come along and be safe and have more fun. And being on the edge allows us to see things that we wouldn't normally see. And this is even true just in crowds. So, you know, many of you know that I spent my teenage years at Wrigley Field, so I spent a lot of time in crowds. I really got to learn how to maneuver my way through crowds. And one of the basic things that I learned is never go in the middle of a crowd, but always stay on the edge. And if you stay on the edge, you can always see where it's moving, and you can always see where the openings are. When the Dalai Lama was here and spoke at the football stadium, there was massive crowds going to see the Dalai Lama. And I remember I was with Richard and Maureen, and it was like, okay, I said, let's just stay on the edge, and as long as we stay on the edge, we'll find a way in that isn't the big conglomerate. And sure enough, there was a gate that no one was going through. So it allows us to see things that we wouldn't normally see when we stay in the middle. Now, the truth is, there's nothing wrong with the middle, right? We need the middle because we need to be able to finish the things that we start. And the law of mind action says, thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. It says we live in a world of thoughts, words, and actions. And the truth is, the edge is great because it's at the beginning, but in order to fully manifest something, we need to be willing to see it into manifestation, to see it through. Jesus said it this way in the book of Mark when he said, "For the earth brings forth fruit of herself, first the blade, then the ear, and after that the full corn of the ear." So there's a process, isn't there? There's a divine order that is always unfolding. You know, when you think about it, Jesus and Buddha, Moses, Mohammed, they were all on the cutting edge. The truth is, we're still trying to incorporate what they brought us 2,000 plus years later, right? I mean, Jesus changed our perception of God from Jehovah in the sky to a loving Father. He changed our perception from the kingdom of heaven is out here to there's an expansive kingdom that dwells within us. Siddhartha lived a life of abundance and prosperity, opulence, and he gave it all up to live an austere life so that he could experience spiritual awakening and enlightenment. Moses was a guy who stuttered. He stuttered, and yet he was called out of He called the people of Israel out of bondage in Egypt and led them into the promised land. So we are still assimilating and incorporating the teachings that they brought us. We're still learning, as above, so below, on earth as it is in heaven. We're still learning about this expanded kingdom that dwells within. We're still seeking to take the 10 Commandments and have them within us. So we don't need them written somewhere on a building. We know the 10 Commandments. We live the 10 Commandments because it has been fully digested by us. Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, the founders of Unity, were cutting edge. What started as a prayer ministry in their home has grown into this movement, and it is still seeking to expand. And again, sometimes when something is way on the edge, it can be met with opposition. Martin Luther King was truly cutting edge, was he not? And he came to talk to us, to teach us, to show us, to speak about equal rights. And what was it met with back in the 60s? With violence, wasn't it? It was such a radical idea that people were fighting against it. And sometimes that happens as well, that when we have these new edgy ideas, that it pushes against everything that we are and everything that we know. The edge is also about taking something that already exists and changing it and making it better. And for me, cooking is the perfect example of this. Because with cooking, you have your recipes, right? Your tried and true recipes, and you kind of, I love cooking, and I love like recipes from my parents and grandparents and stuff, because it's like a ritual. It's like going through these steps and doing the same thing and doing this alchemical experiment, or if you will. My mother was a great cook, but it was Midwestern food. And she only wrote down one recipe of all the things that she had, and it was creamed cabbage, which sounds kind of gross, but I love it. It's wonderful. It's this great Scandinavian dish. And we had it every Thanksgiving and every Christmas, and so I always have made it, and I had her little card that she'd written it on, and I remember making the creamed cabbage and going through the steps, and something unexpected happened to me. And I was filled with this grief and missing her. And I thought, where is this? Because she'd been dead a couple of years. And what it was I was doing the same exact movements that she was doing in making this creamed cabbage, right? That's why we love recipes, right? Isn't that why you love your grandma's pie or a cake or something? It's like, this is how this was handed down. And yet with cooking, we can take the tried and true recipe, and then you just add another ingredient. I wonder what this would taste like with a little nutmeg, maybe. Or a little, like, some red pepper flakes. How about that? The truth is, with creamed cabbage, nothing else works. Salt and pepper, that's it. Butter and cream, that's all. Tried and the true works. But when you think about Cajun food, what is Cajun food? Cajun food is a combination of Portuguese, French, West African, Native American, and Spanish food. It's all mixed together. So here's this incredible food that is on the edge and created out of something, of a lot of different things, of things that were. Things that were. Today, the Umoja Group is celebrating their 5th anniversary. And it's an experience of taking something that is and making it better, to taking unity and to expand it and make it better. So I'm going to share the mission statement that they came up with, and then I'm going to invite Pat Forrest to come up and speak on behalf of their group. But their mission is embracing diversity and love within Seattle Unity Church. We will explore books and materials from various sources and coordinate activities and contribute to an inclusive church community. Through fellowship and support, we will move from theory to practice in our quest to deepen our spiritual journey. Pat Forrest, will you come up and will you welcome Pat Forrest? You can put it here if you like.
This is my edge. Okay. In the summer of 2005, Ruth Lynch approached several of us and asked if we were aware that Unity Village was offering a workshop and a seminar, and one of the classes was going to be on African Americans, and we said, no. And she said, well, why don't we go as a group? Yes. So we met in August for the workshop that was going to be in September. Divine guidance said, it's canceled. That's what we said. But Jackie Roberts said, why don't we start a study group? And everyone said, of course, that would just be wonderful. Well, what would we name it? Jackie Roberts also came up with a name, Umoja, which in Swahili means unity. Yes! Okay. So we decided to meet once a month and look at materials, books, movies that would help us in our spiritual growth and to forward us on our spiritual awakening. So that's what we did. We had movies, we've had groups of just 6 people, and we have groups of standing room only with our Kwanzaa celebration in 212. We're a group of Unity members who you will see giving service to the church as ushers, as Dios members. Karen said, eat this. You will see us. This is my edge. I love you, I love you, I love you. We do the garden party, we serve. In the group, we have novices and neophytes, and believe me, we have some sages that share their journey, share their knowledge, share their loving kindness, and who opens up vistas for us to do what it is Spirit wants us to do. And it's just such an amazing group that you should come. That's all I can say. You're welcome. We're open to everyone. We read books. We have speakers. We have movies. We help with fundraising. We do Kwanzaa. We do African American Martin Luther King birthday celebration. So I would like for the Umoja members to stand up, and we would like, not me, it is not I, but the Spirit within, okay. Umoja members, if you've ever attended an Umoja study group, if you've ever attended a Umoja activity or event, would you please stand and let us say thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay.
So I just have one question for you. And what has the Umoja Group meant to you personally?
Okay. Umoja has meant a group of like-minded people who embrace me and my noviceness in unity, who has helped me expand my knowledge base, who's given me tools in my toolkit to be a good person, a loving, kind person, to share, to give, and to know that it is not I, but the Spirit within that serves.
Thank you. She did great, didn't she? Yay. I'd also like to acknowledge the founding members. So if you're a founding member of the Umoja Group, please stand. The founding members. So I want to share with you something that Jackie Roberts wrote and sent to me. It started with the question, is Sunday the most segregated day in America? At Seattle Unity, Umoja is trying to change this. Yes. Umoja members, in looking and seeing all the white faces, Umoja members decided not to be on the edge or marginalized. We took the step to migrate to the center of Unity's community, as demonstrated by members' active participation as board members, officers, chaplains, ushers, musicians, education committee members, platform assistants, and active members in many of Seattle Unity's organizations. We encourage everyone to join us and to get to know us, because remember, we are all one. So how do you really know that we're one? Come and meet with us. Talk to us one-on-one, as we are true soul brothers and sisters connected through spirit. Yes. And the daily words. Recently's word was unity, and it said, embracing our similarities and our differences, we relinquish thoughts of scarcity and competition. In unity, we extend support to the worldwide community, and we love and support one another. So the Umoja Group is hosting it's the YOU that are hosting for the Umoja Group, right? So there's snacks and cake and things in the library celebrating the Umoja's 5th anniversary. So I invite you to meet with the different members and to talk to them. So as I begin to wrap up, I'd like you to think about the times in your life when you have been on the cutting edge. When have you been on the cutting edge? Perhaps for your own personal life, but maybe for an organization or for your family or for your friends. And perhaps you know this because there were times when you felt like you just didn't fit in, right? That you were seeing things that not everybody else was seeing. And so my question to you now is, where are you right now? Are you in the middle? Are you at the beginning? Are you at the end? And where in your life do you need to go to the edge? What is calling you to the edge of your life's experience, your life's consciousness right now? Sometimes physically doing something can move us to the edge, and that's why I'm inviting you to come out for the zip line. Just before you go down the zip line, you can say, and now I'm on the edge of experiences in my life, and I'm calling forth good and new ones. Hey, it works, really. We're also living in edge times, aren't we? With all the things that are going on in the world and on the planet, we really do need scouts. We need scouts that can go ahead and look and see what needs to be changed, what needs to be fixed, what needs to be embraced. Just as the Umoja Group saw a need, and rather than go, hey, you know what, this doesn't work, they saw something that needed to happen, and they stepped into it, and they took charge, and they made it happen. And that's true of every single one of us. That is our gift. Come to the edge, he said. We're afraid. Come to the edge, he said. They came. He pushed them, and they flew. May we each fly in our own way.